Hey, how are you doing? David Shipman here with our broadcast Business Money Christianity, a financial podcast from a faith perspective. So glad you joined us again this week. Let me encourage you to like, subscribe, make a comment, ask a question. We'd love to have you involved. It helps us get algorithms to reach more people, and we appreciate that. We're not asking you to buy anything or do anything for us. We just come every week with about a 15-minute message on how to make your business, your life better. We do come from a faith perspective. And so we refer to the Bible periodically because without God, nothing really happens good. And so I want to talk today. There's a quote that I read that said, "Some get lucky, but most succeed with diligent pursuit." So while, yes, we can say that some people get lucky, there's a big lottery that was going on here in the United States. Uh, I don't know what it was called, Mega Millionaires or something like that, but the pot got to over $1 billion, and I believe I read that somebody won that. So they got lucky. Statistically, not going to happen. Probably going to end up ruining their life because it seems like most big lottery winners do get their life ruined. But um, diligence, when we start talking about succeeding in life, it starts looking like a diligent pursuit. We set a goal and we work hard to get to that goal. Now, what I've noticed people in trying to get ahead here in the United States, we have a terminology. Maybe it's around the world, I don't know, but it says it's a get rich quick scheme. Now, it is a scheme because getting rich takes time. It's a building process. The Book of Proverbs talks about this quite a bit. That people that try to get rich quick, end up, in poverty, so on and so forth. We have an industry here. It's not a bad industry, and I'm not dogging it, but it's called network marketing, and where it's you develop. And there's a lot of people that make a lot of money. My father was like in the top 3%. He's in heaven now, but he was like in the top 3% while he was in network marketing and did very well. But most people don't. They see the numbers. All I have to do is this, and I can make a lot of money. And then they sign up, they buy all the stuff, but they're not willing to put the diligence in. And it typically costs the person more than what they make. And what's the difference? It's getting excited about the end goal without realizing the diligence that we put into. So I was talking to a person, actually the day of this recording earlier today, I was talking to a person about a situation in their life, and it deals with a lot of money. And so several $100,000 US. But the person has gotten something stuck in their mind that they're not diligently pursuing the answer. And so I was being asked the question, how do I help this person? I said, I don't think you can really help them because they're stuck in their mind on what they think it should be, and they don't have uh, the proof or the resources to validate what they're thinking. So now they've got a cognitive stuck factor. And that's probably not a real word, but it's just when we get stuck in our brain. And if we're not careful, we can get stuck in our brain. Could be good things, bad things, whatever, just a thing. We can get stuck in our brain of what should happen instead of paying attention to what is happening. And so one of the things I'm very big on being diligent and working toward things, I think people give up too fast. I was talking to a very wealthy man who is one of the largest rent collectors in the county that I live in. And I asked him, I said, if you had to give somebody advice on what it takes to become wealthy like you, what advice would you give them? And he says, make decisions and stick with the decision. In other words, if your decision doesn't look like it's going the way you want it to, as fast as you want it to, stick with your decision until you make it work out. Too many people give up too fast when they're trying to build a life. And in the process of building a life, which goes beyond money, goes beyond business, it goes to our family and everything like that. At least here in the United States of America, most people are short-term thinkers. They do things based on today and what they want today, and they don't give enough thought to how this decision today is going to affect their life. So one of the things that I always say in the area of diligent and pursuit is that you have to be flexible while in pursuit. Now, you have to keep this in context, because while you're in pursuit, you're going after an established goal that you set. You're being diligent to do the things, but you have to pay attention to what's working and not what's not working, and readjust as you go, continuing in the pursuit. Instead of trying to jump ship and go, oh man, I heard this is going to take me there faster, and it doesn't work, and then you jump over here. And what a lot of people end up doing is they don't build properly for life to expand. And so what makes us succeed? Well, in the element of diligent pursuit, there's really two things that um, moves us forward in the pursuit of diligence. One is we love what we do. And so maybe the in the whole context of whatever we're doing, it may not be, brain surgery. I'm talking about literally, like we're going in and rewiring somebody's brain to make them live, but it's a product or service that somebody needs. But if I love the product, if I love the service, that will be enough to keep me diligent in pursuing what I'm trying to get to. The other thing that we need to look at is the purpose of it. Brain surgery. Maybe I don't like all the blood that comes around, but what I'm doing makes enough sense or has enough value to me that I'll put up with some stuff. So talk to an individual again the day of this recording, and uh, they don't like what they're doing. And so they're struggling in the doing of it. And so they're trying to rearrange their life to get back into a realm of what they want to do, because they view it as a worthy purpose. Now, worthy purpose is subjective to everybody. I use the example of brain surgery. If we can save people from whatever they're dealing with through brain surgery, that is obviously a worthy purpose. Just as if you can fix a car and you're a mechanic and get somebody back on the road, that's a worthy purpose. So if what I'm doing has enough value to me that I'm helping enough people, if you're chasing money, there's no value in that. There's the value of money, but just to make more money, you're not going to become satisfied with anything. When I was back in finance and I worked at a company, I was an employee as a manager of finance. There's there's three people that I really impacted their life and set their course for a better life. One person was worked in a little small grocery store, became a mortgage banker. Another person worked as a waitress, became a high level district person. But I impacted their life. And while the job itself, making loans to people, that didn't, there was no value in it. In fact, I wanted to get out because our loan rates were expensive and I didn't like doing that to people. But what I did to help people, there was value in that. And the people I'm talking about helping was my employees. And so there was another quote, it was by Samuel Johnson, that says, what we ever hope to do with ease. Now, I call hope to do with ease as muscle memory. You're able to do it without thinking a lot about it. If you get into the martial arts, they'll make you stand in certain uncomfortable positions that really work towards your balance. They'll have you hit certain ways that utilize your body weight and different things. And what happens is, after you do it enough times, if you watch the movie Karate Kid, you remember wax off, wax on, wax on, wax off. Okay, what he was doing was building muscle memory so that when somebody threw a punch, boom, he could block the punch. Okay, if we want to do something, what we ever hope to do with ease, we must first learn to do with diligence. A quote by Samuel Johnson. And I find that to be true, that in the beginning, we have to pay attention to the small things that make, even though the bigger picture gives us a purpose and a drive to do it, we need to pay attention to the small things so that we don't become mediocre. That oh, this thing I can just throw it over to the side and we don't ever do it again. But when I take everything as it's part of my process of doing things with exceptionalism, doing it very well, then I become a better version of me. Which takes me to another quote, and I can't pronounce the person's name that said it, so I apologize for that. But it says, "To become a better you, be diligent and never let the charms of procrastination and excuses seduce you to fall for mediocrity." Now, many people live with excuses. They have an excuse for everything. There's a person that was dealing with something just 2 or 3 days ago from this recording that they told me, "Hey, this is going on with this happening," and I said, "Tell them this," and they made all kinds of excuses why these other people wouldn't do it. They never even asked. It could have been life changing. They never even asked. Why? Because they pretty much live by excuses. They've got a reason, they got a justification for everything. Procrastination. There's a charm in procrastinating. I don't have to do it today. Why do today what I can put off for tomorrow? But tomorrow, a lot of times, never comes, and you never accomplish what an excellent spirit would do. You know, in the book of Daniel, talking about Daniel, it refers to him as one having an excellent spirit. Do you have an excellent spirit in your job, in your life? Do you do things with excellence? See how we approach this. Our diligence in pursuing the objective of our life is going to manifest down the road. What we're going to live in is going to be a byproduct of our pursuit of diligence. There's a lot of people that sit around and don't do anything all day. They watch TV, they just meander around. Why? Because they've never made a purpose and focused on the purpose with diligence. I want you to be successful in your life. So I thank you for stopping by this week. Remember to keep us in your on your agenda. Come back and visit us on this. We're just coming by every week to give you a few tips and bits of information to help you make your life better. So once again, like, subscribe, make a comment, ask a question on this. We appreciate it, and I will see you again next week.